Hey guys, it's Mrs. Hageman. I'm going to go through the two glide reflection examples that we worked on in class in case you need to see them again or you were not here. Okay, so a glide reflection is two transformations, a glide or a slide, which is a translation, and then using those points doing a reflection. Okay, so it's called a glide reflection. So the first thing you want to do is know what your original points are. And so that's going to be a triangle. So we're going to graph R at 4, 1. We're going to graph S at 7, 3. And we're going to graph T at 6, 4. And make sure you connect your points using the line tool. And so that's the original, and we don't put those points anywhere else except the graph. And then in this table, this is where we're going to put all the points for the rule x plus 2, y plus 2. Okay, so we need to add 2 to all the x's and add 2 to the y's. So 4, 1 is going to become 4 plus 2 is 6, 1 plus 2 is 3. And I'll show you where that is, and that's moving point R 2 to the right to be 6 and 2 up, so 6, 3. And S is going to be 7 plus 2 is 9, 3 plus 2 is 5. So that is going to move point S 2 to the right, which is 9, and 2 up, which is 5. And then point T, 6 plus 2 is 8, 4 plus 2 is 6. So if I'm at T, I'm going to go 2 over, and that puts me at 8, and then 2 up is the 6. Again, connect those. And when we label, we're going to use the same letters, but we're going to put a tick mark by them, which is called a prime symbol. So this is going to be T prime. This one's going to be S prime, or an apostrophe, and this one down here is going to be R prime. All right, and the benefit of the colors is nice, but sometimes those aren't there, and you have to look for where the prime signs are. So that was the glide. It went to the right and up. Now we need to reflect the green one, and our rule for the reflection is right here. You're always going to have a different rule depending on what it says. This is y equals x. So you want to think about the rule is for that, and we're going to put that in the second table. Okay. When you do glide reflections, you do not go back to the beginning. We've already slid it, and now the one in green is the one that we're going to reflect. So the line y equals x goes through the origin. It's a diagonal, and it's going to move up one block at a time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the green triangle, and that one is going to get reflected over this line. So it is going to flip and appear somewhere over here. So let's look at the points. So the rule for y equals x is y is x and x is y. So we're flip-flopping the points. So 6, 3 is going to be 3, 6 because y is x, x is y. 9, 5 is going to be 5, 9. And 8, 6 is going to be 6, 8. And then you can plot those. So 3, 6. And that was the first point. So you can see it makes about 90 degrees here. So that's going to be R. And then if it's the second movement, you're going to put 2 tick marks for it's called prime or double prime. So we're going to have 2 there. And so that's point R double prime. It's the second movement. And then S was at 9, 5. So if we flop those, it's going to be 5, 9. And that's S. And T was 8, 6. So now it's going to be 6, 8. And you should see that T is still pretty close to the line of reflection because this point down here was. So we're going to connect this triangle, and it should be the same size, pointing in sort of the same direction because we're just flipping it over the diagonal. And then make sure your points are filled in, and yours looks like this, and this is your first glide reflection. The second one, same thing, we're going to graph the triangle. 4, 1, 7, 3, 6, 4. But we have 2 other movements for our glide reflection. Okay, this time the rule tells us to take this triangle and to not do anything with x because there's no number with it. So we don't do anything side to side, but we do y minus 2. So if we subtract 2 from the y's, that is going to move our figure down. So we're going to take each point and move down 2, move down 2, and move down 2, and then we're going to check that in the table. So 4, 1, the 4 is going to stay because x is the same, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1, and that is there. 7 stays, 3 minus 1, I'm sorry, 3 minus 2 is 1. So we go 5, 6, 7, 1, that's correct. And then 6 is going to stay because our rule tells us to leave x alone. And we're subtracting 2 from 4, which is 2. So we're at 6, 2. Make sure you have that triangle connected, fill the table in. And remember our labels, the first one is RST. So we have R, and then S was over here, and T was up here. And so the orange one, which was the first slide for the glide reflection, is R prime, S prime, T prime. Sometimes you don't have anywhere to write it, but I'm just going to find a spot. All right, and now we're going to do a reflection over the y-axis. So you have to look this rule up. I will tell you that the y-axis is up and down, and it's already here for you. Okay, the y-axis is right here. So we have to take the orange triangle and we have to reflect it over that y-axis. So this orange one, not the blue one, because we go bing, bang, boom in order. So this orange one's going to flip and be over here. So you kind of have to have an idea of what it's going to look like. So the angle pointing down is now going to kind of point down that way. Okay? So use your estimation to think about what it might look like. So our rule for the y-axis, you want to keep the x's, you want to keep the y's the same because it's not going to move up or down, but we're going to change the sign for the x. That is your rule for y-axis. And you can also count how far away you are. So 4, negative 1 is going to be negative 4, negative 1. So that's going to put you 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 7, 1 is going to be negative 7, 1. So S prime is over 7 up 1. So that's 7 away. So if I go 7 away over here, I'm at negative 7 up 1. And remember, this is R double tick mark or double prime. This is S double prime. And then you should see that T is going to match up here somewhere. So 6 is negative 6. And then we're going to leave the 2 alone so it can stay side by side with this. So if T prime was over 6 up 2, and we're 6 away from the y-axis, we're going to be 6 away from the y-axis over here. So negative 6, positive 2. And that's going to be T double prime. And you did your second glide reflection where we translated it down to, and taking that figure, we reflected it over the y-axis.